Once upon a time, long, long ago, so long ago that no one's quite sure if it really happened or not. Far, far away, so far away that no one's quite sure if it was really there or not. There was a peasant family. Well, it wasn't a family, and that was the problem, to be honest. It was a man and a woman, and they were perfectly happy. They had everything they needed. And the thing, of course, that they needed to be happy was to know that they didn't want anything else. But they were missing something, and they were missing a child. One day, as they sat there at the breakfast table, it so happened that 3 ravens were circling anti-clockwise overhead. And we all know that one must be careful what one does when the ravens are about. And one must be very careful what one wishes for. For the lady, she said, I wish we could have one child, even if the child was the size of my thumb. I'd be so happy. We're talking about child the size of your thumb. But of course they thought no more about this. And a few months later, well, it doesn't take 9 months to cook a child the size of a thumb. A few months later, what do you know? Out popped a little man. And they loved him, and they called him Tom. And he was very sweet and very charming, and they were a family at last. Of course, they did worry what would happen. I mean, not only did they worry who was going to look after them in their old age, but what would happen to Tom. Now, one day, the father, who was getting older and a bit grumpier, well, he thought he was talking to himself, and he said, I wish I had a son who could come and help me sometimes. And Tom picked up, I could help you, father. I can help you. Wow, what could you do? I could bring you the horse and cart to pick up the wood at the end of the day. Well, how could you do that? Just put me in the horse's ear, and I'll give it instructions. Well, they thought they'd give it a go, and that afternoon, Tom Thumb sat in the ear of the horse and piped out and told the horse where to go. And as it went into the forest, it passed 2 strange men in black hats and black cloaks. And the first one heard the horse talking and thought that this was very strange. We'd better follow this horse, he said. Let's see where it goes. And they heard it talking. And then the horse came as though it had taken itself to a man chopping wood, and the man spoke to it and it spoke back. And then the man reached out, and out of the horse's ear he plucked a homunculus. Ooh, said Tom, we can make a bit of money with this. Listen, we come from the Witchfinder General. What did you just take out of the horse's ear? I didn't take anything. Yes, you did. It was a little man talking. You must give that to us. I can't give it to you. It's my son. So you did take something, did you? Yes, I did. Well, give it over or we'll take you to the Witchfinder General. Tom Thumb then whispered, don't worry, Daddy. I'll soon get away. Oh. And he was very frightened. So he gave up his son to these two fierce men, and then they were pretty pleased with themselves, and they said, "We're taking the homunculus straight to the witchfinder," and they marched off, and they had Tom Thumb ride on the hat of one of them. Now, after a little bit, Tom, well, he had the need. He needed to go and do a wee-wee. So he called down, and the man said, "You can do what you like up there. Birds are always flying past and sitting on my hat. I'm just too shy. I'm too shy. Doesn't matter. Please, I'm desperate." "Oh, all right. Well, we could do with a little sit down anyway." So they sat down, they put him down on the grass, and he said, "Just to go behind." But of course he didn't come back. And then they started to look, and they couldn't find him because he'd popped down a mouse hole. And after they'd been looking for a while, I said, "Well, I'm not sure that we really wanted that little man. He might not have been good after all. Let's go. Come on, let's go." And they sped off. But of course, Tom now started looking about him and realized that it was getting late, and it's not much fun actually being very small out in the evening. I mean, there's all sorts of things who could come and eat him. And he found a tortoise shell, an empty tortoise shell, and crept inside and thought he'd spend the night in it. Just as he began to get comfortable, he heard, well, a couple of ruffians went by, and they were talking about, "We must there's a lot of gold and nice valuable things in the priest's house. There's gorgeous things in there. We just need to break in and get it. Yeah, we're going to go break in. But how are we going to get in? It's all barred." And Tom Thumb piped up, I can let you in. "Who's talking? Who's there? It's me, it's Tom Thumb." And they looked down at this little man coming out of the tortoise shell and said, look, he said, "Let me in, and I'll go in and I'll pass things out of the windows. And when it's finished, we can divide it all up fairly. And, well, I'll only need what I can carry, won't I?" And they thought this was very good. And they picked him up, and they took him to the priest's house, and they let him in through a little window they managed to open. And then he came running back with a piece of scratched up paper he'd found on the floor. "Is this what you want?" He said, "No, it's not." "Oh, what is it that you..." Shh. "What do you want?" "Well, see, there's an evening treasure in there." "Would you like a silver spoon?" he shouted. "We got all the silver spoons, but not so quiet." And he started coming with one. "Oh, there's lots of silver. Do you want me to pass it out?" And then the light went on in a room above, and they ran off. After a while, the maid came down, but there was no one there, and she went up, and the light went back off again. So they crept up, and he said, "I've got some lovely silver tongs, and there's a beautiful purse full of golden pieces." And this time several lights came on, and several people came down, and they ran off. And Tom thought that perhaps he might sneak off, and he sneaked round the back and found a barn, and found a nice hay barn, and he got into a pile of hay. And well, it was so comfortable, and he had rather a busy day, so he just went straight to sleep. Unfortunately, he didn't wake up until the cow herd had already taken the hay he was in and given it to the cow. He didn't wake up until he was inside the cow's mouth, and then he could see these great teeth coming all at him, and this huge tongue, and he had to dart backwards and forth across the tongue to avoid being crushed. And then he thought he better jump down the throat, and then he was in the stomach, and it was quite cozy in there, and more hay kept coming down. So he shouted out, "No more hay! Don't feed me anymore!" And the cowhand was terrified at hearing the cow talk, and rushed off to get the priest. And the priest, when he came, and Tom yelled out, "No more food! It is a possessed, accursed cow. It has been taken over by evil spirits," and killed the cow and chopped it up and threw all the meat out on the rubbish pile. But Tom was still trapped in the stomach, and he was trying to work out a way to get out when a passing wolf swallowed him up, and he was in the wolf's stomach. And when he didn't like that very much, and he yelled out, "Oi, what are you doing? Who are you?" "I'm the big bad wolf." "Well, I'm in your tummy." "Oh, what are you doing there?" "It's a long story, but listen, do you like sausages?" "I love sausages." "Do you like hams?" "I love hams." "Well, I'll tell you where you can get lots," he said. And he directed the wolf to his parents' house, and the wolf squeezed in through the little cat flap and went into the larder and ate and ate and ate. And when it had eaten everything in the larder, and Tom Thumb was sure that it was too fat to squeeze out, he started screaming, "Help, Mummy, Daddy, help, help!" And the wolf ran around, tried to get out, and made a mess. And his parents came down and saw the wolf rushing about. And Tom said, "I'm in the wolf's tummy, I'm in the wolf's tummy." Then his father got his gun, but he didn't want to use his gun. So then he got his spade, and he managed to smash the wolf's head in two, and then cut open the wolf and rescue Tom Thumb. And they all lived happily ever after. Well, now it's time for a proper drink. Now, I'm going to have a glass of Blandy's Duke of Clarence Madeira.